Welcome back to another episode of Hawks Nest. I'm your host, Kaylee Davis, and I'm joined with Owen Carando and Justin Trevelyan. We're going to jump straight into baseball. The team has went 6-2 in their last 8 games, and they're tied for third in the OVC standings with Morehead State. Owen, what are you expecting from the OVC for the baseball team?
I mean, this is a tough division. Anytime you get into OVC play, especially we saw it last week, and Austin Peay is only 10-20 overall in the year. They took 2 out of 3 from the Red Hawks last weekend. Now, granted, all three of the games were one-run games, but when you get down to OVC play, things get really competitive. So, I mean, as you can tell right now, Murray State was preseason ranked second in the OVC, but they currently sit at the bottom at 1-5 in the OVC play. So coming into this weekend and SEMO having to play Murray State at home, Murray State's kind of on a downhill slide right now in the season. They aren't playing too necessarily well, and the Red Hawks, I mean, 6-2 in their last 8 games, that's really good, and that's something to be happy about if you're a Red Hawks baseball fan. But playing Murray State at home, really, I mean, the team's 14-0 at home on the year. But the only thing that really concerns me about this weekend, about OVC play, especially at this time of the year, is the weather. I mean, we're going to get some cold games this weekend. We're going to get some windy games. And we may have even a couple of games where we see a little bit of moisture this weekend. So this time of year when it comes to baseball, it's really anybody's game.
Yeah. And Justin, talking about that loss against Austin Peay, do you think that it's time to be concerned?
No, I don't think there's any reason for SEMO baseball to be concerned. I mean, it's a long season. They have plenty of time to work out anything that's maybe not going their way. So having that win streak at home is good. So, I mean, the only thing with that, when you get farther into the tournament, you want to be able to win on the road. So other than that, though, I think they're sitting in a really good position right now.
Yeah. Moving on to softball, the team went 8-3 in their last 11 games, and they're currently sitting at third in the OVC. Owen, what have you seen from this team so far that really makes them outstanding?
I mean, they've had a really tough non-conference schedule to start the year. I mean, they played like 20 straight games on the road to start the year before they finally got home to open up OVC play. So they had a tough schedule, but I think that's really helped prepare this team for the teams that they're going to face in the OVC. I mean, obviously 2 weeks ago, it's not ideal that you go on the road and get swept, but at home they're 6-0 this year in the OVC, so the record is 6-3. They stand at third in the OVC, but Belmont and both Murray State are really kind of running away with the OVC and softball right now. Both teams are 9-2 on the year, so I think it's going to be tough to see them kind of climb back up into either that 1 or 2 spot, so they may end up being stuck in that third spot as the year progresses along.
Yeah. Justin, what are you expecting from their series against Eastern Illinois?
Well, Eastern Illinois is coming here this weekend, so the Red Hawks get to play at home, which obviously bodes well for them. So, I mean, I don't know if they're going to sweep Eastern Illinois, but I see them taking 2 games out of this series, and hopefully they will be able to crawl back up into that 2 spot, but maybe not reach number 1.
Yeah. And then switching over to tennis, the team is 11-4 on the year, and they're undefeated in conference play, and they're currently sitting at the top of the OVC. Owen, how are you feeling about these last 3 games?
I mean, the last 3 games, even the last 5 games for this tennis team, they have absolutely dominated their opponents. Like Justin mentioned earlier, they've been winning matches 6-1, and where you only play 7 matches, and it's kind of a best-of-7 series kind of deal. But this is just outstanding play from this tennis team. Now, the tougher part of the schedule comes in their next 3 games after they play Tennessee State this afternoon. So really, the toughest part of their schedule is coming up for them here in the later half and to the end of the year.
And Justin, where are you predicting they finish in the OVC?
Well, I'm still going to say, although their toughest part of the competition is coming up in the schedule soon, I see them still finishing in first place. I mean, their confidence has got to be at an all-time high right now. So I see them just continuing to roll and dominate these last 3 games and move on to the OVC tournament.
And then on top of that, they've won their last 5 games. And then they will face off against Tennessee State today, leaving only those 3 OVC matchups before their tournament. And then to wrap up this episode, Owen, who is going to be your special shout-out?
I have 2 this week, actually. My special shout-outs are going to go to both gymnastics and cheer who competed at Nationals this weekend.
Awesome. And then Justin, who's going to be your shout-out?
My special shout-out is going to be the track and field team who is in Knoxville, Tennessee, competing at the Tennessee Relays, so I just want to wish good luck to them.
All right, this has been another episode of Hawks Nest. Be sure to tune into the next episode.